As Jack Reacher's second season draws to a close, a well-liked fan theory about the show is very apparent, yet it's also most likely true. The second season of Reacher, which is based on Lee Child's Bad Luck and Trouble, places the show's lead character in the center of a plot that targets his old army unit, which he personally chose. Reacher was a vagabond in his post-military days and has remained since the counterfeiting case in Margrave, Georgia, in the first season. Jack finds out that one of their old friends, Calvin Franz, was killed when Reacher's fellow former military police officer, Francis Neagley, sends him a distress signal. Franz's death, thrown from a helicopter when it was soaring over the Catskills, was not an accident. Neagley and Reacher actually think it's only the beginning of a string of killings that will go after the former members of Reacher's 110th Special Investigations Unit. In contrast to the small-town drama of Reacher Season 1, the show's second installment places Reacher at the center of a potentially fatal plot, which makes things much more personal. Furthermore, Season 2 demonstrates that Jack Reacher is mired in the past, in contrast to his friends. Reassembling his former group, Reacher is confronted with an unsettling notion. Perhaps one of their own members betrayed the group. The legendary Special Investigations Unit included Jack Reacher, who handpicked his 110th comrades, Neagley, the late Major Calvin Franz, who looked up to Reacher, a frequently sardonic David O'Donnell, Carla Dixon, an ex-MP who loved numbers, the music-loving late Tony Swan, who later worked for defense contractor New Age, arms specialist Stan Lowry, and the assassinated buddies George Sanchez, Andres Collins, and Manuel Orozco, Edson Morales. O'Donnell stands out among all of these characters, and not in a good way, as only a small percentage of them are still alive by Reacher Season 2, Episode 5. David O'Donnell frequently points the finger first among the 110th members who have been reassembled. A character who is quick to point the finger at others in a murder mystery novel frequently has something hidden. But viewers have also called attention to other striking scenes from Reacher's second season that seem to suggest O'Donnell isn't entirely honorable. To begin with, Reacher introduces O'Donnell to Swan at his upturned apartment, claiming that it had been ransacked before to his arrival. It appears remarkably opportune that O'Donnell later discloses that he and his family were enjoying a unplugged weekend when Franz was killed. It's questionable that he was able to locate the remaining 110th. Without a doubt, O'Donnell has improved since the second season of Reacher. Rather from being a Reacher-esque figure, O'Donnell serves as a counterbalance to the big guy. O'Donnell is married with children, but Jack Reacher can't seem to let go of his military background and has adopted an unsettling, untraceable vagabond lifestyle. The former MP may engage in blackmailing the government of Washington, D.C., but otherwise, he appears to be the kind of family man Reacher chose not to become. However, painting O'Donnell as a family man is an easy way to de-suspiciously label him, possibly too easy. It would be too evident if O'Donnell was the murderer. Aside from the overall blackmail, O'Donnell ought to be employed by New Age, if only to receive a reliable salary. Should he be engaged in illicit weaponry sales, his five-member family would undoubtedly be supported by his profitable but unlicensed side businesses. Although the main suspect in Reacher Season 2 appears to be a character from the past, there's a remote possibility that O'Donnell was also involved in the contraband case from the previous reality, or perhaps he learned from it. By now, the hints that point to O'Donnell may just as easily be red herrings or careless writing. Not necessarily for the bad, but he has changed from the books. Other strange things that happen in the first few episodes of Reacher Season 2 suggest that O'Donnell is not a trustworthy person. Firstly, he gives his burner phone number to one of his kids. Most of the time, O'Donnell's speech seems like code. For example, just before the motorcycle gang battles the 110th, O'Donnell says, "Hands are for helping, not for hurting." As one Reddit user put it, this sounds like code for no guns. Perhaps when O'Donnell tells his family he's going to take on some bad guys, he means the 110th. The awkward conversation and burner phone event could, of course, be the result of sloppy writing. It would be unfortunate if Reacher's story deviated from the book just to lead to a glaring revelation, especially because Lee Child was engaged in the creation of the Amazon Prime Video series. It wouldn't be gratifying to have almost any member of Reacher's hand-picked 110th Special Investigations Unit turn on the series' main character. The show deserves a greater twist. Jack Reacher has made it clear that he doesn't think any of the people he personally chose could betray the group, because doing so would contradict his sense of self and intuition, which he always has. From a character's standpoint, that's intriguing, but as an action movie cliché, that's something Reacher should stay away from. Reacher Season 2's Horton's Fields, Josh Blacker, appears to be the genuine traitor of the 110th, as the inquiry reveals additional details concerning Lil Wayne New Age and the murders of several ex-MP officers. Horton's appears to be a top suspect, from the character's forced debut in Episode 3 to Fields' clumsy appearances in later flashbacks concerning the 110th's early days. Fields' appearances are just strange set dressing if he isn't involved. The Horton's Fields twist would also eschew the cliché of Jack Reacher being betrayed by a member of his own handpicked team, as Fields was never a member of the 110th. That being said, O'Donnell is not entirely exonerated even if Horton's Fields is the Reacher persona from his past who is responsible for the deadly plot against the 110th. It's feasible that O'Donnell has been set up to sell out the 110th, or his previous family, in order to protect his wife and kids if Reacher Season 2 want to implicate him in a way that doesn't entirely undermine his character. O'Donnell may not have been personally involved in the murders in that sense. That kind of twist reinforces Reacher's argument about the perils of settling down in a corrupt system, and is even consistent with David O'Donnell's current job in political blackmail.